Back here I am. Got off a bunch of the writings I had, and does the key I picked up perhaps go here? No. That's a little glitch. Oh. One way we haven't been yet, which actually is not logged, is over here. This would be a bit, or rather on the other side of the dance hall from the Winter Garden, and we are greeted by a gentleman with a sword. And in fact the only way to defeat him is with another sword. But he, unfortunately, he also is quite adept at blocking. The best way I have found to actually defeat him is to push him into a corner and then wail on him. Like so. And I didn't even lose that much health. He leaves behind another key. And also right here is a book behind the painting or something. So let's see what that was.
Daemonia Particularis, Signs and Rituals, by Heinrich Cassel, Ring Publications.
The ritual of invocation demands that the officiant be pure. We have already described the complex operations to be followed in order to call those that sleep in superior dimensions. We shall, for the present, limit ourselves to the sign of mutual recognition used amongst their number by adepts of the cult of the Old Ones. The sign also serves as protection when in the presence of a servant of evil.
Might this be that star talisman I am carrying?
The sign resembles a blessing.
Oh.
Save that the first and little fingers are both folded beneath the thumb, whilst the second and third fingers are held up. It would appear that this sign has no effect on adepts of a certain rank with knowledge of particular secrets contained in the corpus demonicus. The use of such signs is not without considerable risk to the user during any attempt to call upon those from without.
Well, I honestly don't see how that is going to really be of any use, since I can't the game controls don't exactly allow you to control the character in such a way as to make a specific sign with the fingers. Where do all these keys I have go? I don't think I left any locked doors upstairs. Oh, that's where I left the gramophone. Well. Aha! Well, this maybe? doing something wrong in how I'm using the keys? I do not get it. So did I check this? I'm probably missing something very simple. Okay, I have keys. There's a ghost in that room. I checked all the rooms on that side. And can I? So I don't really have any action to do while I am carrying the lantern out. Nothing important. Oh. So I guess I'll dig through. Okay. Anything in the middle here? Another book. I admit I should have done this in the first place. Another book. There are books in the library. Many books. Astonishing. I never would have thought. And finally, okay, that's probably all the books to be found.
If Rocks Could Talk, or The Story of a Louisiana Plantation by the Marquise de Chamfray.
Okay. What does this have to do with our current predicament?
After the criminal selling off of Florida by the foul usurper, my father elected to remain in this inhospitable land, where we were free at least to express our royalist feelings, and hope our country would come to its senses. In 1818, a certain Pickford bought up Ledoux's land, after the poor fellow had ruined himself in unfortunate speculation. Pickford soon turned out to be the most loathsome human we had ever encountered. He was an adventurer of the worst kind, nouveau riche, and bloated with a grotesque sense of self-importance. First came the incessant army of men with shovels, digging into the mountain of earth that was to fill in the surrounding swamp. The undertaking was quite stupendous. We learned from a slave that the final objective was to connect the existing caves with another one of gigantic proportions.
Okay, caves, yeah, but well, we are kinda on the other side of the country from Florida, at least I imagine.
racked by a mania of persecution. Elia Pickford constantly fired his workers and hired new ones. He did all he could to keep anyone from learning about his plans. My father was amused and said, "The poor fool will end up getting lost in his own cave." But the walls went up, and tongues started wagging. Our detestable neighbor had been a sailor, a ruffian grown rich on questionable trade. Distasteful stories were told of him.
Okay. That actually matches the first, or if you prefer, the ground floor of this building. There's stairs up on the left. Well, I'll use compass directions. West is stairs, northwest would be the window garden, southwest the kitchen. Well, I don't see anything here we haven't already found out by ourselves.
When the work was finished, Pickford invited us to the opening of his rambling mansion, which he named Derceto. My father asked what the strange name meant. Pickford answered, "Derceto reminds me of Astarte, the fertility goddess. Around here, the name is Shub-Niggurath. I believe that a name so steeped in evil should be said aloud came as not such a shock to my father, as he himself confided in me some while later."
So Astarte is another name of Shub-Niggurath. So I guess we are in the deep south. Well, I had missed that. Sorry. I thought this place takes place around the Northeast United States, which seems to be the standard region for Lovecraft stuff.
We left immediately.
Okay.
In June of 1862, Derceto was burned down in unexplained circumstances. It was undoubtedly the deed of some jealous Yankee or another. It was amazing to watch the servants rushing into the flames to try and save their bullet-riddled master. After that terrible night, Derceto fell into ruin. Its blackened walls were soon overgrown, as human-built works always are, by ever-present nature.
Oh, maybe we are not in the south. So was the mansion rebuilt? Or over the same ruins? Was it built according to the same blueprints elsewhere?
In 1875, the property was eventually bought by a gentleman whose name was Howard Artwood. I was sorry that my father, who delighted in fine conversation, was no longer alive to enjoy the company of this new neighbor. Learned and well-versed in history, he had made a particular study of piracy. It was Artwood who told me that Pickford had commanded a ship that flew the flag of piracy. That explained the scoundrel's great wealth. Artwood was fascinated by Pickford and undertook a great deal of research in an attempt to find some treasures that he was convinced the pirate had hidden. He went through the ruins inch by inch. He then had the burnt-out house rebuilt exactly as it had been, and refurbished the library that had miraculously escaped the flames on the night of the Great Fire.
Okay, so we are in the south after all. Well, I give up trying to figure that out.
Artwood set about studying every volume in that library, and often talked to me of his research. He was a handsome widower, deeply attached to his son Jeremy, who was later to become a professional artist. Artwood worked incessantly, first from the room I offered him, then from his own freshly restored home, which he rebaptized Derceto. I imagine he hoped to enlist the help of the god of good fortune in his treasure hunt. As far as I have ever been able to tell, all his searching came to nothing. There were no lost treasures to be found at Derceto. I learned of Artwood's death while I was in Paris. But that, as they say, is another story.
Okay, a bunch of history of this place. Well, I guess the most important thing would be that, hey, caves underneath.
Unfinished chapter of Terra Incognita by Jacob van Ostade. A hitherto unpublished fragment of the manuscript unearthed following indications furnished in the Vatican Library's Expurgatory Index.
Fascinating.
In those
Intriguing.
icy and unwelcoming lands, the rites of wizards and healers are deeply rooted in ancient legend. Mysterious and cruel beings are thought to have ruled over the Arctic plains in times past. A cursed city, enclosed by massive walls, is believed to stand to this day. It contains fabulous treasures and is inhabited by the degenerate descendants of those who instilled centuries of terror in the hearts of the people.
Okay, an ancient hidden city in the Arctic. Makes me think of Mountains of Madness.
These people, naturally placid, are seized with rage and horror at the very mention of the prisoners of the ice. Were these dreadful captives to be freed from their frozen cells, they would reap a horrifying tribute of human flesh. These blood-curdling beings may be invoked by certain ritual words. They can even be controlled, albeit with the greatest of difficulty.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is regarding the Mountains of Madness.
I admit to being impressed by these tales, repeated to me on many occasions and in a number of different places during my travels in the region. I have also seen troubling cult objects, sculpted in a material unknown to me. Another remarkable fact is that local Eskimos experience great distaste in pronouncing certain words, and invariably avoid saying them. Here is a living example of the power that words contain. As it is said in the Bible, in the beginning was the Word.
Okay, well, that's more just flavor, not connected to this mansion as far as I can tell.
The Sons of the Sun and of the Shadows. Lieutenant Lope de Vega's account of his astounding travels to the land of the Aztecs.
Holy Christ! Cried Captain Cortez, astonished by the strange rite we beheld. We found the savages half naked. They were throwing balls of silver and gold at each other. They laughed as if demented, clearly maddened by some heathen drug. And yet, should one of them fail to catch the ball thrown in his direction, the poor devil was seized and dragged off to be sacrificed in their temple.
This actually has some basis in real history. Yeah, I think it might have been Aztecs that had these ball games where I don't actually remember if it was the winners or the losers who would be sacrificed.
As we discovered, this frightful game was a ritual most holy to them, and symbolized the movement of the heavenly bodies. The dropping of a ball foretold a catastrophe. That is what the Aztecs believed in their godless ignorance. Their countless deities could only be appeased through endless human sacrifices. The victim's heart, which was still beating, lay in the hand of the murderous priest. The interior of the temple was surprisingly cool. The weight of our armor, our exhaustion, even the burden of our suffering, they were all banished by a sense of awe that the crudely magnificent altar instilled. In the tomb-like silence, a deep voice chanted an incantation. The majestic statue of the water goddess, Chalchihuitlicue, seemed to throb with vitality.
And seems like my antivirus decided to go updating. Hopefully that won't interfere with DOSBox much.
This massive stone, draped in a golden cloak and studded with precious stones, was coming to life before our very eyes.
I don't remember that happening to Cortez.
Horror of horrors! The granite eyes of the statue, empty of life only moments before, were now injected with blood. We staggered back in amazement. Dom Jose was taken by a fit of convulsions. He tried to raise up his crucifix, as if to ward off an attack by demons. The heathen priest laughed cruelly. The statue's mouth cracked open in a deathly grin, bearing teeth sharpened to dagger points. Captain Cortez cried, "Attack!" But it was no use. We were glued to the spot. First, we were unable to move. Our armor seemed to be bolted to the temple floor. Our legs weakened, and we collapsed in a thunder of steel. Only Cortez had the presence of mind to unsheath his dagger. He hurled it at the cackling priest. 4 inches of the finest Toledo steel buried itself in the heathen's face. His blood spurted, splashing the now lifeless idol. We picked ourselves up with difficulty. Never will I forget that terrible moment. My companions, naturally enough, told tales of devilish enchantments cast upon our armor. Whatever the truth of that, I could not deny that the supreme god of the 4th universe had treated us as mere playthings. I am convinced that a terrible energy is yet contained within that heathen statue. A power strong enough to change a proud conquistador into a helpless puppet.
Wait. The supreme god of the 4th universe? Huh? I wonder if this is a subtle clue to use the heavy statuette against the suit of armor.
Drawing of Chalchihuitlicue by Dom Jose de la Sierra, done before the destruction of the Aztec temple of Tenochtitlan.
Oh, that certainly looks like the statue we threw, as far as I remember. Well, I haven't accomplished much in this video. I'll have to check a walkthrough for regarding the keys.